They're men of skin with they've got no hips. They're man of dicks with their opinions. And now let's start the show.
Well, what I'm going to do, because it hasn't happened in a couple podcasts, is introduce this podcast, Loose Lips by Loose Meat, on Spotify, on Libsyn, on...
Libsyn figures.
Oh, yeah. And on Apple Podcasts, formerly Google Music, now YouTube Music. And my name is David, and I'm here with my co-host in episode 202 or 3 or
202.
202.
202. This is the big one.
This is the big one. With my co-host Nate.
We papered over 200.
Yeah, we just skipped that one.
We skipped it. 201.
Our bicentennial, yeah.
It doesn't really add up because 101 has a ring to it.
And 2000, it's not really the new millennium in 200.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't. 0 counts as a year.
And then 201 is like 2001. We all know what happened then.
Right.
Lest we forget.
Yeah, we want to make it to 2010.
Yeah.
A space.
Oh, yeah.
Emissary or what was that movie?
I thought
2010.
No, it was 2010, the year we made contact.
Oh, the year we made contact with Roy Scheider.
Yeah, and it was, instead of Hale, they went with a female named Sale.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I never saw that movie.
I did. It was a female robot. I can't remember who did the voice.
Hello, Roy.
She was sexy. Hey, Siri.
Faye Dunaway as Sal.
Yeah, she's like a sexy bitch.
Shallow Sal. We got to make that one. We're getting close, dude. We got to start making all of them. Oh, yeah.
Well, thanks to AI, I can just generatively fill up everything.
Yeah, that's true. This is going to be it could be a heavy AI. Although I think I still like the handmade meme. I still like to rely on my own magnetic lasso skills.
Yeah, I'm kind of conservative in the taking celebrities' heads and putting them on other celebrities' bodies art form.
Yeah, I like to stick with what works. I'm kind of a traditionalist when it comes to Adobe Photoshop.
Yeah, Photoshop 7 or earlier. That's kind of like the classic for me. I do know people who are like that with video editing. They're like Final Cut purists.
Yeah. Former guest of this podcast who is also a listener, so I'll shout him out.
Yeah.
TJ.
Yeah.
TJ's a Final Cut purist. I discovered this at we work together on occasion on events, all three of us actually. We do events, and he had to edit it, and he was using Final Cut. And I was like, what are you doing, dude?
Buddy, what is this, 2007?
Yeah. Are you certified?
Yeah.
Are you certified? I did get Final Cut certification.
I didn't even know that was a thing. What does that mean? Like someone stands over your shoulder and watches you make edits?
Yeah, I want to say for like Final Cut 6 or 7 probably, whatever. I like went and basically did, yeah. Like I had to like do a test edit, and somebody like stood over my shoulder and made sure I knew like the proper skills.
I'm sorry. It's just being Photoshop certified is cool and all, but it's nothing like being forklift certified.
Well, that's the thing. And if I would have known what I'd be doing right now with my life, it would have made a lot more sense to get forklift certified than to get Final Cut. Because also right after that, it was when Steve Jobs, the dumbass, Einstein, Steve Jobs, Einstein, decided that it needed to be more user-friendly.
Yeah.
And so Final Cut just really ceded all of its status to Premiere and what was the other one? Avid.
Yeah.
I mean, Avid was always a thing, but that one you had to have.
Yeah, that one's like
real deal certification.
Yeah,
like a technician and stuff.
Yeah, I will never be to that point.
No.
Nor do I want to be.
I truly can't even edit anymore. Like I can edit this podcast, and I can edit annually one EIT video.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I barely can. Like, I can barely remember how to edit whenever I have like a HLP TV bit to edit.
Oh, it's like you don't remember? So it's not like riding a bike?
It's not like riding a bike. I also don't, I mean, you know this because you clean up my edits usually. I cannot let anything go. Like anytime I edit something, it's about 12 minutes long, and then I pass it over to David, and you cut it to 3. And it turns out being just as funny, and I just am so precious about every dumb little thing that was said.
Yeah. I can be pretty heartless. I just want to get the most compressed version possible.
Yeah. Which is funny because you developed that skill over a lot of time, and it really, the algorithms used to really favor the shorter video, and so you really developed the skill to make the shorter video just in time for the algorithm to be like, nah, we really want long form.
Yeah.
Although I guess no one's ever watching 10-plus minute sketch comedy. It's not, the long form is referring to podcasts and not
and SNL sketches.
Yeah, buddy.
Their whole cast is leaving this year. Like everybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like all of their main people.
Even Sarah Sherman?
I think she might be like this.
The one stayer.
Yeah, like next year will be her year. Be like her and Keenan doing every character.
It's so when she got cast, I mean, she is loosely in our larger friend sphere.
Yeah.
I can't claim to have had more than 5-word conversation with her. But she's loosely in our friend sphere. And so it did this weird machination in my brain where it was like, oh, SNL hires my friends. SNL's like easy to get on now. Like, duh. And I just found out that somebody else we know has been deeply poisoned by this.
Yeah.
And like really thinks SNL is completely attainable.
Whoa.
Because there is the precedent that like 1 or 2 people we kind of know have been on it. I just want a live studio audience sitcom.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on SNL. I want to follow the Gerard Carmichael.
So what you need first is a sitcom that like makes it one season. Nobody sees it, but it gets well reviewed. Then afterwards, you make a reality show where you reveal all of the times you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. And then I am the worst actor in Poor Things. I'm acting as if I'm in a completely different movie than everybody else in Poor Things.
Yeah.
Did you see Poor Things?
I have not seen Poor Things.
Oh, okay. It's a very theatrical movie, but everybody's doing like a really big performance. And then he's doing like a weird mumbling, like fake British accent. It is so off-putting.
Oh, God.
And I know he can be good in things. I think I saw the trailer to his movie that looked bad.
Yeah.
But he looked believable in a bad movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess he was. Yeah, I believe that he'd make a bad movie.
I can get behind that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Carmichael's was actually good, but not because of him. It was like, I think Lil Rel and Tiffany Haddish were both on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Lil Rel is, I think, like, in terms of, like, broad, large population comedy, the funniest man alive.
Oh, yeah.
Just the fact that he carried Uncle Drew into a commercial where NBA players get dressed up as old men. He made that a funny and watchable movie. I think he should have won an Oscar for it.
Yeah.
He is so fucking funny. He did so much heavy lifting in that movie that, like, I have beyond beaucoup respect for him as a comedian.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that because I was watching the clip recently of when Larry Grandmama Johnson appeared on Family Matters, and he played a basketball game where it was like Urkel and like Urkel was joined a basketball tournament with Grandmama on his team, and like separately Eddie was also on the tournament, and he was like winning, and it was all building to the point where it was going to be like 2-on-2 Eddie and then like Eddie's friend and then Urkel versus Grandmama, which is, if you haven't seen Grandmama, it was actually a character from commercials where this basketball player would just dress like a grandma and do slam dunks. Like that was the whole.
Yeah, what a weird thing. And then his like teammates started doing it. They were doing like him and Alonzo Mourning were doing like dueling grandmas.
Yeah. But that made me think of what you were just saying where like Jaleel White really had to there's a lot to put together as an actor where you're like, you have to pretend like you're a nerd who actually surprises everyone by being good at basketball while you're with this like grandma who's actually a professional basketball player. Like the reality of it is so complicated.
Yeah, what? I don't understand, like, the NBA was riding high off of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan had just come to fame.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what's next? Like, Magic Johnson has AIDS now, so what do we do?
Oh, my God. Oh, can we talk about Clipped?
Yeah.
Can we talk about Clipped? So Clipped is, we're just because we're on basketball, it's the story of Donald Sterling, former owner of the LA Clippers, played by Ed O'Neill. But yeah, he plays Donald Sterling. It's, you've probably seen the interviews, the Barbara Walters interviews that happened at the time where the whole story was Donald Sterling was the owner. He was a real estate guy. He owned, I think, 300 buildings in LA. Also had a lot of problems as like a shitty landlord, was very racist.
He's basically kind of, I think it's fair to say, the West Coast Trump.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
In a weird, but he just went into sports ownership instead of politics.
Yeah.
Like,
and he bought the Clippers back when, like, you had to be rich to buy a basketball team, but the NBA wasn't what it became. And so I think he paid like $12 million for it or something in like 1980.
Yeah. It was like a mid-tier sport to buy.
Yeah, and it was like the worst team in a mid-tier sport.
Yeah.
And he just got lucky and bought them. And then he owned them for 20 years and did nothing with them and even said like, no, I'm not really trying to like have a winning season. It's just kind of like nice to have a basketball team.
Yeah.
People come no matter what.
Yeah, I like to take my podiatrist and show him around the stadium.
Yeah, and man, he just uses the basketball team as like a way to show off among his rich friends, where he'll literally bring different rich donors into the locker room and have them like touch the players. And the first couple episodes of Clipped are actually just incredible. Because just the acting is amazing. Lawrence Fishburne is the coach, Doc Rivers, who is just so used to being around dumbasses. And literally he says in the show that his goal is, I'm going to win a crown for the clown.
But Doc Rivers, as a basketball coach, is notable for coaching the most teams ever to blow a 3-1 lead in a series, which is extremely hard to do. All you have to do is win one game out of the next 3, and he's blown it 4 times. So it is so generous to Doc Rivers to tell this story now that he's been fired from his 5th team.
Yeah.
Is like, oh, he actually like brought the world together, ended racism. He handled this with dignity and class.
Well, have you seen, did you watch all the episodes?
I haven't seen the last 2 yet.
Okay, because that, I feel like it does not let him off the hook because.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because he really had a chance. Like, okay, so what happened, if you don't remember, is Donald Sterling said all these racist comments. It all got leaked to the public because he had a personal assistant / maybe more. The show implies that all that happened is she gave him massages. I don't know. The woman who plays...
It's about favors, David. Just ask John Travolta. It's about favors.
It's all about favors. She got the glutes.
Yeah.
Her name was it V. Stiviano? Or
V. Stiviano.
V. Stiviano. The actress who plays her is incredible. And she just is like a genius at getting Donald Sterling to give her money.
Yeah, she has a very particular skill set.
Yeah.
And it is getting money from Donald Sterling.
Yeah, which he's such a piece of shit that I was rooting for her, although she starts to lose it. But yeah, at the end, there's a couple times where Doc Rivers has a chance to like, you know what, we're not going to play for this racist asshole. We're going to all like fight this. And he's like, no, the best way we can do this is go out and play. And, like, that kind of comes back and bites him in the ass. Like, some players bring up at the end, like, you know, in the end we lost and we had a chance to make a protest, which we didn't even do.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when this happened live being so disappointed that they played.
Yeah.
Like, it just made no sense. And then the fact, too, that they came up with the most, like, just childish and kind of impotent protests. Like, what they did was they wore their Clippers uniforms under their Clippers sweatpants, but they wore the Clippers sweatpants inside out, so the logo wasn't on it. And then they threw it on the ground. But then they still played in the uniform and then lost. I mean, it is a weird thing because I guess when you're an athlete and you know, the prime of your career is 5 to 10 years, like why would you want to waste one of those years to tell a rich guy to fuck off?
Yeah.
Except for I would.
Yeah.
And also I don't like work, so even if I was a professional basketball player, if I could get paid money to sit down, I would definitely do that.
Yes. I will also say I left the show, and I know nothing about him in real life and don't follow basketball at all, but having watched the show and the way that he's portrayed in the show, I feel like the person who comes off looking maybe the worst is Blake Griffin. So
he is doing like a big media tour, and he like went on like that guy Stavros Halkis or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
He went on his podcast like trying to win back the narrative because he does look bad in the show, and it's funny because he attempted to be a comedian.
Yeah.
He would go to UCB and stuff at the time, and I remember people would get angry because they got bumped for Blake Griffin and Chris Paul to come do their comedy bullshit.
Yeah.
But he kind of blew it because he got drunk and punched his trainer, like the guy who gives him massages.
Ugh.
He punched his trainer and then broke his hand and had to sit out a whole season. Anyhow, this is all just nothingness to say that he really wants to be a media figure outside of it, and this show does not do him any favors.
Yeah, well, the way the show makes him look is not really like an out-of-control hothead. It's more they make him look like kind of a company man who, like, lapdog to Donald Sterling, and just like, he's not happy about it, but like, what can you do?
It definitely posits the fact that he is like 100% okay with all the objectification and stuff.
Yeah.
And he has, in fairness, he has talked about the fact that he did go to Donald Sterling's white party and like how uncomfortable it was to go there. He didn't know that he was going to have to like stand on stage and everybody would like touch his muscles and stuff.
Oh, man.
And like Donald Sterling would be like, show him how high you can jump, Blake. Which is so fucking funny. It kills me. I really enjoy the show, and I think Ed O'Neill is doing like a bang-up job as Donald Sterling, except for he doesn't do the voice.
Yeah, but
he does all the mannerisms.
He gets across the spirit, I would say.
He gets the spirit across, but there's something, like, I would love to hear like a bad impression of Donald Sterling, because for those of you who don't remember, he has like a really whiny voice, and
I buy them cars.
Yeah, the aforementioned Barbara Walters interview.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and Magic Johnson, when he had those AIDS, I prayed for him. What did he do? He had AIDS.
Yeah.
Loyal listeners have heard that quote probably 1,000 times. Because I feel like it has been inserted in every 5th episode of this podcast.
Yeah, I really wish they would have had Magic Johnson in the show, because he has some weird issue with Magic Johnson. Like, that's like when they show the Barbara Walters interview, he's only doing the interview because he's already in a tailspin and he's trying to save his career, and he's almost doing it until she says Magic Johnson, and then he's just like, he has AIDS. What does he do? He has AIDS.
He has AIDS. And I prayed for him with those AIDS. I went to synagogue and prayed for him with those AIDS.
Oh, man. Well, okay. I also think, since a lot has happened in this last week, there is a segment on this show we haven't done in a while, and we need to bring it back because of everything that has gone down. And that segment is Just Asking Questions.
Just Asking Questions.
I want to just lay out the very basics of everything in this pretty complicated conspiracy theory. But as we know, first, the overarching conspiracy that all of these sort of feed into is that the Trump assassination attempt. They tried to get 45. I don't say Trump.
Yeah,
but
Trump. Yeah,
Trump. They tried to shoot Confefe in his face.
Can I say that at this point, John Oliver should apologize?
Oh my God!
Because that type of rhetoric,
I think he should go to jail.
the Trump rhetoric, yeah, he should be in prison, federal prison.
At least deported back to England or wherever he's from.
Deport him. Yeah, they should deport him back to England because that type. He was raising tensions
temperature.
in this.
He was
country.
raising the
He was
temperature.
raising
We need to lower the temperature.
We have to lower the temperature. And guys like that, he's not even. We should kick him out.
Yeah.
He should be in the stockade in jolly old London.
Yeah.
Getting tomatoes busted in his face.
Yeah, put him in the Tower of London.
Yeah,
he needs to be in the
send
dungeon.
him to clean old Big Ben up. See how his ears are ringing after that.
Then we let him in here, and then all he does is like complain.
Yeah, try to clean Big Ben after eating a sodium breakfast of bingers and.
Yeah. So just to go back to our main story. Yeah. Donald Trump was in Pittsburgh, was in Pennsylvania, and a kid radicalized by John Oliver was on the roof. He'll probably listening to like old John Oliver monologues.
Listening to the YouTube channel about corn subsidies.
Going crazy, and he took some shots. He was no Lee Harvey Oswald. He missed.
Yeah.
I guess he hit the podium. And some glass from he hit the teleprompter.
Teleprompter, yeah.
Which you kill the teleprompter, you kill Trump.
Right, that's true. The guy can't talk without the teleprompter.
And then some part shot back. Here's where the conspiracy begins. He starts to bleed. The Secret Service people knock him to the ground. Then they fire back randomly. Number one, also, the guy shot, and then the Secret Service people shot back. I guarantee you that the person who died at the stadium was shot by Secret Service.
Oh, almost definitely.
And they'll never admit it.
Yeah, almost definitely. There was probably the Secret Serviceman went to check his gun, make sure it was loaded, and then shot into the crowd before picking up the gun and shit.
And then Jay Johnson ran away, climbed up a wall.
Not again! Not again!
Oh, he jumped in front of the bullet.
Ariel Pink and JFK Jr. were just...
Well, yeah, he survived. The Secret Service covered him up, then pulled him right back up so he could get a photo op real quick.
Yeah.
And he did like the Black Power fist. And then they whisked him away. But, okay, that's the main event. But here's what happened this week that definitely all plays into it and cannot be a coincidence. Number one, the biggest one, is the fact that SNL's Donald Trump, Alec Baldwin, one day before, is acquitted for his shooting.
Right. So
his assassination.
He's back on the street.
He's back on the street.
With knowledge of gunpowder.
Yeah, allowed to shoot.
Allowed to shoot.
He's like, there can only be one Trump. Me.
Right. That's true. Yes. And he's already told us we're welcome to thank him for his last tour of duty as Trump.
Yes.
And so basically, if we're to look at his arc, he does the job. He gets Trump out of office single-handedly.
Yeah.
We all thank him. And then he's got the taste for blood.
Yeah.
He's, quote-unquote, killed Trump's political career.
Yeah.
And he needs to kill. He had the taste.
Yeah.
He needs to kill again.
He thought Helena Hutchins was Trump.
She was doing her Trump impression, probably. Let me check the camera angles.
Make sure there's some bullets in here.
Eat lead, Trump.
But okay, so that's number one.
Right.
We pretty much already proved that Alec Baldwin pulled the trigger.
There was a grassy knoll.
Yeah,
there's a second trigger.
The person on the roof was a patsy. Alec Baldwin was actually in the other corner firing magic bullets.
He was right behind the camera. Shooting magic bullets.
But here's what we need to figure out. But these are either patsies or deep state agents who were involved with it. I just don't know how.
Yeah.
I'll just list them out. People who are definitely involved. We just got to figure out exactly how. Is Dr. Ruth, Richard Simmons, Shannon Doherty, Shelley Duvall, and former NFL star Jacoby Jones.
Wow. Yeah. So obviously there is some connective tissue there.
Well, yeah, Shelley Duvall was in Texas where JFK was assassinated.
Right. So she was probably at the bookstore.
Yeah, the book depository.
Depository, yeah.
Getting CIA messages.
Right.
Which she relayed over to Dr. Ruth.
Dr. Ruth, who used her radio broadcasting prowess.
Yes.
And Jacoby Jones obviously was the getaway.
Yeah.
He runs a great fast 40.
And Shannon Doherty told him how to get to Beverly Hills.
Right. You can hide out here. I've got a
90210.
place on Melrose or in the area code 90210. Yeah. So this is somewhat coming together.
Yeah.
And I think it's also worth noting that that Richard Simmons.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they were probably, that's the thing. So Richard Simmons, they were probably going through like SEAL Team 6 style training to the oldies.
Yeah.
With Richard Simmons.
Right. Well, we also have to know, because there was a podcast about Richard Simmons that revealed even more about his whereabouts, called The Search for Richard Simmons or some shit. Yeah. And that revealed that he was actually being controlled by his nanny.
Right. So the Okay, so now we're painting a picture here. Now we're starting to get the pyramid here, the triangle. Yeah. The nanny.
Yeah. Richard Simmons' nanny was the one pulling the strings.
And so we're thinking, what, this 20-year-old Republican who gave to Democratic causes.
Yes.
Is a Manchurian candidate.
Yes.
Who was
trained by Shannon Doherty.
Trained by Shannon Doherty and Richard Simmons in Beverly Hills.
Driven there by Jacoby Jones.
And they're obviously trying to set off something politically in this country.
Yeah,
and that's why were all taken. It was probably all cyanide.
Wait, now I'm realizing something. The real brains behind this operation was Dr. Phil, who activated Shelley Duvall when she was on the show.
So
she was playing crazy.
Right, and he's talked to Richard Simmons, too.
Oh, shit.
Do you think...
Again, we're just asking questions.
No. Well,
these are answers.
Do you think, David...
Yeah.
Again, this is a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that Dr. Phil may have been wearing prosthetics?
Whoa.
Remember, he shaved his mustache somewhat recently.
Yeah.
Do you think he shaved his mustache and wears prosthetics and a wig to pose as Richard Simmons' nanny or housekeeper?
Yeah.
So he was in there pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And Richard Simmons just thought, oh, you look a little different today. Did you get a tough night's sleep? Your voice is a little hoarse. And then Dr. Phil was actually starting to pull the levers of power.
Yeah, kill 45.
Kill 45. Yeah.
Well, when I saw Shelley Duvall during that Dr. Phil interview, first off, she wasn't doing the olive oil voice. So I was already suspicious.
Yes, her olive oil voice. Her famous olive oil voice. Well, and something happened today just before recording the podcast, too, David, that throws an extra little wrench into this.
Yeah.
James Sicking of Hill Street Blues and Doogie Howser's father passes away of mysterious causes at 90.
Okay.
We last saw him on Curb Your Enthusiasm in 2004, in this century.
Well, also, that show...
So he's still a working actor.
That show, Curb Your Enthusiasm, I would say is sort of a gathering point for a lot of conspiracies, because a lot of people who do that show mysteriously vanish not too long afterwards.
Right.
Bob Einstein.
Right.
Where did he go?
Within 20 years, this man is dead.
Yeah.
He goes on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Within 20 years, he's
Which
dead.
happens to so many people within 20 years of going on Curb.
And we know that Larry David is...
a killer.
Yeah. Well, he clearly...
A Democrat.
He's clearly a Democrat.
Yeah.
Right. Probably a Zionist.
Definitely an inspiration to Chris Dorner.
Yes. So that's true. So he was affiliated with Chris Dorner.
Yeah.
This is starting to paint a pretty disturbing picture.
Yeah. This kid is watching John Oliver and Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Getting activated by Richard Simmons' nanny.
Right. So then
which is actually Dr. Phil, as we've established.
And it makes me wonder now, too, if he's watching Curb, if he's watching John Oliver, what do those have in common? HBO.
Whoa.
Who runs HBO? David Zaslav.
Oh.
David Zaslav might be trying to take the presidency.
Whoa.
White House down. Using Dr. Phil to activate his sleeper cell agents.
Yeah.
Because
Shannon Doherty, Dr. Ruth, Jacoby Jones.
Mysterious situations here. Dying of breast cancer. What is it? Fluoride in the water? What's going on? Like, how does somebody who's 50 have breast cancer? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Dying of natural, quote unquote, causes.
Yeah.
Dr. Ruth. Vital. I mean, she talks about sex still, David.
Yeah, she was having sex. How
is she dying the next day?
Yeah.
She goes from sex to death.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing, in a weird way that's almost, discovering all of these conspiracies is not fun for us, okay? It's not fun to know that the entire government is being collapsed. However, there is a relief to know that, yeah, Shannon Doherty and Dr. Ruth, they're not really dead. Those are just fake bodies.
Right. Because I think if we slow down the footage, okay, it's clear to see two things are clear in this video. One, that our shooter was compromised to a permanent end, or was he?
Or was he, yeah.
He was wearing a very Machiavellian YouTube gun program shirt.
Also, when you said shooter, I mean, it could be shooters. Mm-hmm. We don't know how many. I heard 8 bullets fly. There could have been 8 gunmen.
Well, that's true. Yeah, actually, that does make me question.
Yeah.
They said 8 bullets. There's one guy on the roof.
Yeah.
How is...
yeah. What is that? Yeah.
Yeah, the math doesn't add up.
Someone needs to do that math. That math isn't mathing.
We have, but then we think about it here. We have James Sicking. We have Dr. Ruth. We have Richard Simmons. We have Shannon Doherty. Alec Baldwin's on the loose.
Yeah.
We have the shooter. And then who is in the front row of the crowd? And the only person to stand up while everybody ducks for cover after the shooting, JFK Jr.
Whoa.
That's 8 right there.
And he's calling Shelley Duvall in Texas.
And Shelley Duvall, yeah. That's 8 people.
Yeah.
It adds up, David. 8 bullets, 8 people.
Each of them have
all
a
mysteriously
rifle.
Dead.
Each has a sniper rifle loaded with a single golden bullet.
They were all the golden bullet. Yeah, actually, it was probably because this is where the conspiracy starts to take center stage too, because they probably all shot themselves, and JFK Jr. was the only one that shot Trump because he survived. We saw it. Yeah. The rest of them are dead.
Especially, it's strange because most of the people in the Kennedy family are not very good at dodging bullets, but he is.
He found a way.
I guess it's evolution. Like his dad didn't, but he did.
Right. He learned. And he learned from that plane crash in the 90s.
He's been
cheating. He's like a Dorian Gray figure. He's been cheating death ever since the 90s. Little John Jr. I think this kind of makes sense because, again, also in the footage we've seen, the shooter's dead. Yeah. Okay? The shots can't be coming from the top of that building because the guy's dead. How is he shooting a gun when he's dead?
Well, in JFK conspiracy theories, there's the magic bullet theory. That makes, for this one, the dead bullet theory. The dead gunman theory.
Yeah, dead gunman.
How can a dead gunman kill him?
That makes sense.
It doesn't add up.
He's dead. We saw the video.
He went up there. He died.
I've seen it with my own eyes. He went up, probably sun poisoning.
Yeah. He got really distracted by the John Oliver in his headphones.
He was listening to John Oliver. He forgot to drink water. He passed away. He passed away sun poisoned.
Then the whole audience is looking over towards the dead gunman as the deep state wanted, right when Shelley Duvall pulls the trigger.
One for Trump, one for herself.
Yeah. She had a gun with 2 barrels. One facing forward,
one going backwards. And then one turns on its side. Yeah, the Dillinger escape plan.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
And now Alec Baldwin is free to roam and do his...
I just want to say, too, the idea that, okay, so you may be hearing us and say, oh, there's 8 gunmen. Most of them are Hollywood celebrities. How can 8 gunmen miss Trump from point-blank range? And the answer is, this was all part of the plan. He was not supposed to die on that day.
No, he was not supposed to die.
This was to build him up as a hero. That's why they gave him that, photo op.
Heroic photo, yeah.
Yeah, because they're going to kill him in about a couple weeks, I'm guessing.
They probably noticed the sun-poisoned gunman. They probably set him up there to make you think that. But in fact, yes, this was all part of the plan. This was to activate him as the Uberman. He survived the shooting.
You know what's going to happen. If I had to guess,
he's bulletproof.
For now, I think they let him live. They're just playing with him. They're like when a cat catches a mouse and they don't kill the mouse, they just kind of paw at it. But I don't know if you heard, but Harvey Weinstein, like half of his cases got dismissed. I think all of his New York cases were dismissed, and now he's trying to dismiss the L.A. ones, and if he does that, he'll just get out of jail.
Really?
Then he's going to kill Trump.
Well, he takes super soldier injections.
Oh, yeah. I remember because during his trial, he was paralyzed, but then as soon as he was found guilty, he stood up and walked.
Yeah. Well, it's because they had taken away his injections.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's part of his
boner injections.
His boner injections. His egg-shaped penis. But yeah, that's interesting because he was leaving messages from square one in plants.
Oh yeah.
This has been
And in the movies that were released in Miramax.
That's true. Yeah, if you decode Shakespeare in Love,
Yeah.
it is basically, again, like the Manchurian Candidate. If you watch Shakespeare in Love on 1.5x speed,
Yeah.
it says kill 45, kill Trump, end democracy.
Yeah, you got to play Pink Floyd "Dark Side of the Moon" while Shakespeare.
While
in Love.
watching Shakespeare in Love,
Yeah.
it says a lot about this country.
Yeah, Weinstein, he was like Mr. Snowman. The secrets were there all along.
Mr. Policeman. Yeah, no, David. I'm glad you're asking questions because
there's a lot to be asked. There's no way that these are all coincidences or that they're not related.
It doesn't make sense. Like,
Yeah.
all right, let's just take today, for example.
Yeah.
What's happened today? Nothing.
Yeah.
No presidential shootings.
Yeah.
No celebrity deaths. Nothing's happened.
Yeah.
Right? So how are we supposed to believe that over the course of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all of that happens?
Yeah.
And that's just normal? Or how am I supposed to normalize that in my brain? And then go back to Monday and nothing happened?
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. I think that pretty much proves everything that we said.
Just, you got to use
That's
logic.
open.
You got to use logic.
That's open and shut right there.
It's open and shut. You got to use logic.
Like, okay, it's today. Basically, nothing has happened. So yeah, Dr. Ruth and Shelley Duvall killed Trump.
Conspiracy aside, when we found out, I went to the pool with a couple friends, and when we found out about Trump, and I will say this is not directly my story. I was actually in the bathroom and did not witness this. Mm-hmm. But it turns out we were at the pool sitting next to Malia Obama, and she found out that Trump got shot right next to us while a former guest of this podcast was talking about going on a bad Tinder date.
We might need to go back into just asking questions because you just have proof that Malia ordered it.
Well, I think something was fishy there because when
Malia, we have Dr. Phil on the phone.
When she found out about
it's about what Shelley Duvall did per your order.
Again, I was in the bathroom. I was in the pool. I didn't witness this. But she said, I hate Trump.
Whoa.
She said that out loud. So it does make you question, was she a part of this? Because meanwhile, while Trump is dying in Pennsylvania, she's at a pool in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
A public pool.
And she's getting, her control center where she's controlling all of the operation.
Right. She was surrounded by a bunch of physically fit young people who easily could have been soldiers.
Well, think about the fact that the person who the narrative says pulled the trigger was 20 years old. She's probably like 20 years old.
She's near 20. Between 20 and 30.
They probably ran in the same circles.
That's without question. I've seen this guy. I see the pictures, and I've seen the people she was hanging out with, and outside of a few physical differences, they're very similar.
She's known to hang out with like all of the cool people in Bethel, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but so what happened? She found out, and did she actually say, I hate Trump?
That's what, apparently, that I did not hear it directly, but that's what she said. She also complimented.
And then she did like two pistol things with her hands.
I hate Trump. I love Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, that'd be cool if you also saw her find out that news. Also, the Baldwin case was dismissed.
Yes!
Cannonball! Cannonballs into the pool.
She did a backflip and triple Lindy into the pool. Yeah, it was a weekend for real weird shit to happen.
Yeah.
The vibes were off this weekend.
Yeah. It was not a full moon, but it felt like a full moon.
Yeah. I had a panic attack for like the first time in forever, like a really bad one.
That sucks.
I couldn't go out on Friday.
Ooh.
Don't know why.
You missed a weird night.
Yeah, I'm sad about it.
Yeah.
I was bummed. I mean, it really did. I don't know. I was thrown. I had like a weird experience this weekend where we got really invested in a video game, and I honestly just sat around for most of last week. I was not officially laid off, but I'm in the process of my shitty warehouse job essentially removing me from work nowadays. And so I had so much free time. I was extremely underemployed, which I know you can understand.
Yeah.
And instead of doing anything productive with it, I played like 40 hours of a strategy game.
Civilization 6.
And we really, honestly, my partner and I were like staying up till like 3:30 in the morning, like eating weed gummies and playing this game, which probably is part of the reason I had a severe panic attack.
Yeah.
But like listening to modern David Bowie albums, which I gotta say, I guess it's not that new, but Reality is the tour I saw David Bowie on.
Yeah.
And he made a very self-deprecating comment during the show that I saw, which was, I'm going to play 3 new songs if you need to go to the bathroom or get a beer.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I stayed and watched the 3 new songs, and I liked one of them, She'll Drive a Big Car.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. But then Reality, the album came out. I bought it just because I saw the tour. It had a terrible album cover, like an all-time zero album cover. It's like David Bowie drawn in like computer graphics anime style. Yeah. Very, very ugly. Gave it a re-listen. It's a good album, David.
Yeah.
It's actually like the best of his modern albums.
I can't remember if it was that album. He had, the one I liked that was kind of modern was called Heathens.
Heathen, yeah.
Yeah.
So Luce really liked Reality, and she said if it weren't for a friend of hers telling her, like, this album's great, ignore the cover, she would never have listened to it because the cover is so bad. Yeah. We listened to that, and then I threw on Heathen because I was like, oh, that's the other great album of his modern era. It tapers off. Okay. Heathen's about 4 good songs, and then it really falls apart.
I remember he covered Mr. Greaves by the Pixies, I think.
He covers, on Reality, he covers Pablo Picasso by Modern Lovers, too.
Oh, weird.
He got really into covering contemporaries, I guess.
Well, they were like contemporaries from 20 years ago.
Yeah. But it's a good album. I can't remember why I went off on this diatribe. Just my psyche was all fucked, I guess, because I was playing this game too much. And I started to like see signs of it. Like I got so deeply invested in this strategy game that I was like seeing it in real life.
I had that with Photoshop generative fill. I had basically a week where I was playing with it nonstop, but basically Photoshop added this feature where if you have an image, you can just circle apart any part of the image, and then you just type whatever you want, and it will pretty well generate what you're looking for, and it'll like, it's Photoshop, so like the light will look right, it'll look like where it's supposed to be, and it just kind of instantly pops it out. But the thing is, like, it can also have these weird glitches, which are like my favorite part, and like it generates some weird stuff. But I was messing with it for so long that I would be out going for a walk, and I could just see myself like, circle, add chair, circle, add fish. Like you could just, I wanted to add anything. Like the last time that happened was when I played the game Portal a lot, because in Portal you can just make up one portal over here, one portal over there, and there's like a door between these two worlds. Yeah. And like after playing Portal nonstop for like 8, 10, 12 hours or whatever it was, I definitely would get frustrated. Like, I have to go in that door. Why can't I just like open a portal there and a portal there?
It really is. Like the video game, this happened to me twice recently because I got, loyal listeners will know that I also bought the Suicide Squad video game, and I played that so much. It just happened that I was off work then too when it came out, and I played it so much that I got into this weird headspace where I wasn't enjoying it anymore. It really kind of almost had like a similar addictive function where it was like scratching some itch in my brain where I was compelled to continue to play it even though I wasn't having the same type of fun anymore. Yeah. And that's hasn't really happened with Civilization quite yet, but that one it's a turn-based strategy game that my partner also is enjoying playing. Mm-hmm. So that one, I think we're feeding into each other and making it last longer a little bit.
Is it the type of game that you can play endlessly? Like, is there an end where you can beat it, or?
So there is an end, but it's so far away that I don't know that we'd ever hit it. It's 500 moves. So it takes place from like 10,000 BC to 2050.
Okay.
And I think every move is like 20 years or something.
Oh, okay.
So we have one. I started 2 different civilizations, and one of them I did more how I'd want a civilization to be, which is like peaceful and blah, blah, blah. And then I have to admit that
Gay.
Yeah, exactly. And the second civilization, like the first one was all about like arts and, international trade and all this shit.
Yeah.
And then the second one, I'm the Vikings and I'm just like killing Brazilians all game.
Dude, I've always wondered what would happen if the Vikings face the Brazilians.
It turns out the Vikings win pretty handily. The Vikings, it turns out if you don't stamp Vikings out in whatever era they were stamped out, they can make airplanes.
Viking planes that just like raid other airplanes.
I've made like Viking airplanes now.
Dude, I mean, this is pretty unfair considering that the Brazilians are the only ones who've ever shown us love and made our video hit 1 million.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't even think about
now
that.
You're just wiping them off the map.
them off the face of the earth. Ugh.
Yeah.
You know what? I might try to make peace.
Yeah, I think you need to make another civilization where the Brazilians get on a boat and take over fucking Denmark or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll make sure the Brazilians take over the U.S. and that way we can always hit 1 million.
Yeah.
For some reason, even though we don't speak Portuguese, our stuff really hits in Portugal or in Portuguese-speaking countries.
I'm hoping, they take over because then Loose Meat will be the most popular comedy troupe in America if Brazil takes over.
I really do wonder what Brazil. I have no idea, and I kind of assumed because my partner is from Argentina that she would know something about Brazil, and she's like, no, they speak a different language. Like I've never been there. Not interested in going. Like it's like it's kind of seemingly the same. Like they have the same similarities that the U.S. and Mexico have, like not much.
Yeah.
Other than being land masses next to each other.
Although there's a weird thing where they love U.S. bands because it's actually kind of a joke that whenever a band announces their tour online, there will be comments that say, "Come to Brazil."
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's funny. And I think I might have mentioned this on the podcast before, so my apologies if you've heard this. But because of some political turmoil in the early 80s, like protest music in Argentina tends to be what was popular in the 80s. So it's all prog rock and like new wave music.
Oh, weird.
So like a lot of the touring bands, like any like middling new wave band, think OMD or Echo and the Bunnymen or whatever, like they always hit Argentina and they play multiple dates and they're huge.
Oh, that's cool.
And like, it's funny because the music of protest tends to be this type of music, which I think because the music of protest in the U.S. is just folk music and Bob Dylan and whatever, all along the Watchtower, baby. It's like it was hard for me to conceive of the fact that the music of protest could just be anybody singing something political. Like,
and like when OMD sang Enola Gay, I always thought they were in favor of it. I didn't think they were against it.
Yeah, I thought they loved it.
Drop another bomb, baby.
I didn't even know it was about bomb. I thought it was about gay sex.
Enola style.
I thought it was a move. Yeah, the Enola.
I'll do the Enola, but I do it gay.
Yeah, it has something to do with a mouth. Should we smash a topic or two?
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. First, there's one that we have to hit. At Yum Foods Billionaire gives us Yum News. We haven't talked about it in a while. This podcast is sponsored by Yum Foods, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC.
Wing Street,
of course. Taco Bell has introduced the world's first Big Cheez-It. This has to be talked about.
That's true.
They made a deal. Well, first they've been making deals with other companies. First they made the deal with Doritos, where like they made a taco where the shell is the Dorito. It's the Dorito Tacos Loco. But now they made a deal with Cheez-It, where Cheez-It and Taco Bell at Yum Foods HQ got together with some food scientists. They had the technology. They have made the world's biggest Cheez-It, which they use they took a Cheez-It. It's probably like 4 times the size of a regular Cheez-It. And they use it as like a tostada to put other like lettuce and stuff.
Dude, that's perfect because the only thing I've ever thought eating a Cheez-It is like, I wish I had Mexican seasoning and lettuce on it. I mean, I love Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
But if it had shredded lettuce and Mexican seasoning.
I know. And then my other complaint when I'm having Cheez-Its is I was like, this is about 4 sizes too small.
Is that big enough?
Yeah.
I need it to be larger than my hand. I want a 2-fisted Cheez-It that has Mexican seasoning.
But I also want it to be completely flat, so all the toppings will just fall right off of it when I try to eat it.
Oh, it's not a sandwich?
No, I think it's just open face. Like, I think maybe they might put a layer. They might like put a layer of refried beans on top to stick everything to it.
Oh, good. Yeah, because I also have thought Cheez-Its. Yeah, Cheez-Its don't have enough legume in them.
Yeah, well, maybe some sour cream too.
There's big moves at Yum Foods.
Yeah.
I mean, giant Cheez-It. You can now buy cute toys of all your favorite Yum Foods. There's miniature. I've seen miniature Taco Bell and miniature KFC now.
Well, now I'm thinking, okay, so the 2 companies they've made deals with so far are Doritos and Cheez-It, and I'm thinking next up could be like a pretzel company.
Yeah, C and a biscuit.
Yeah.
Pretzel. Utz's pretzel.
Yeah, like the new pretzel burrito.
Pretzelito.
Pretzelito.
A bean burrito.
Pretzedia. Pretzedia.
A pretzel. You know, pretzels and cheese go well.
Yeah.
Hard pretzeladilla.
Yeah, or I guess it's like the pretzel bread kind of pressed out flat, then like a layer of cheese.
Or thinking outside the box here, what if we bring it to KFC and it's a pretzel bowl with mashed potatoes and pretzels?
Oh.
Because who wouldn't love hard pretzels in their mashed potatoes and gravy?
Ooh, gravy burrito.
Or pretzel fried chicken, where they make a breading out of the pretzel.
Yeah, they should do to bring in another company. They'll do KFC and Chick-fil-A. Do the fried chicken. It'll be the Chick-fil-A sauce.
Yeah, bring it together.
Yeah,
that would be huge. I would love to have. It would be, first of all, as a food vertical, I think Yum Foods definitely needs to buy into the trend and buy like BB Go or something in the Korean marketplace.
They're not touching Korean at all.
And they're already big. Like in Korea, people love KFC.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you bring some of that Korean flavor and bring the bibimbap or bibimbap?
Yeah.
And then you make that with a Cheez-It.
Oh.
The Koreans won't even know what hit them.
Yeah. Korean food, a Korean barbecue on a Cheez-It.
Yeah. No. They have been dying. It's something they don't know they want, but they definitely
want it. They want it.
Korean food on a Cheez-It.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of Cheez-It as a plate.
Yeah. An edible plate. That's the amazing part of it. Yeah.
I mean, I would eat anything on a Cheez-It.
Yeah. Even food I find disgusting. I would, if it was on a Cheez-It, I would.
If it was on a Cheez-It, and making a larger Cheez-It, like, thank goodness the folks at Nabisco or whoever makes Cheez-It, just said, you know what? We're out of ideas. We've made extra toasty. We've made white cheddar. We don't have it. We don't know how to innovate the Cheez-It any further.
I just had one more idea. So Taco Bell has tried and not really fully succeeded at including breakfast.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, they're already working with Nabisco and these other companies. They need to make a deal with cornflakes. Cornflakes in a burrito.
Cornflake-a-rita.
Cornflake-a-rita, yeah.
Yeah. Put cornflakes and refried. Yeah. That would be great because you bring a little Mexican flavor to the traditional American breakfast.
Yeah.
Cornflakes in sour cream.
Yeah, instead of milk.
Instead of milk.
Yeah.
Instead of milk.
And you put that all in a Cheez-It, obviously.
Didn't we make a video a long time ago? God, I think it was a video where you were looking through your yearbook and you were eating corn. You crushed up potato chips and put it in sour cream and ate it like soup.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember even the point of that video, but
I don't know. Yeah.
It's a really, really early loose meat video.
Yeah.
That was just
forgot about that. Yeah, it was terrible.
I wonder what it was about and if it was funny.
Yeah, but I think it was a meat space, I think. I feel like
this was pre-meats. This was in Detroit.
Oh.
Because we filmed
Was this a new hat? Or, what the fuck was
I think you were...
Maybe it was in the cachet one that never got finished?
No, this was you were looking at a yearbook and you were trying.
Yeah,
it was like really sad shit. Like you were looking back on people you knew in high school, and really sad shit was happening, and then you were just too busy eating sour cream to reach out to these people or something.
Yeah. Wait, did that one ever get edited?
I don't know. We'd have to look through the
I don't think I ever saw the finished.
YouTube. I'm not sure.
Maybe
it might have gotten taken down. We did do a purge years ago of like stuff that didn't really play as well, or we didn't find funny anymore.
Yeah.
Not cancelization.
Yeah, more just like we didn't know what we were doing.
This one didn't really work.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to see that one. There was a couple we filmed that we never finished. We filmed one that I think maybe there was like a little bit that we still needed to film, but it was based on Cachet, and I don't even remember, but it was just you in your house. I think you were getting videos of you.
I think I was getting videos of my wife's like ultrasounds or something. I think it was like Cachet, except for it was a gynecologist or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I kind of feel like we never like settled on an ending. Even like we started filming, but we didn't have an ending.
Yeah, it was bad. It'll never be finished because it mostly took place in a house that none of us live in anymore.
Yeah. And I don't even know if I have the footage anymore.
Yeah.
I have some like still images from it.
Yeah. That one I wonder. I wonder, I'll have to look and see if we have a proper script, because I do think we didn't finish. We didn't really settle on an ending.
Yeah. Well, we briefly used to do another podcast called Fix Your Movie. And one of the things that used to always crack me up when we would do it is our characters would always talk about how we thought the endings of various movies were improvised. Which, like, if you know even the littlest bit about filmmaking, like, if you're going to go off script, you cannot go off script for the ending of the movie.
I forgot about that. I fell asleep a while ago. I have Fix Your Movie just saved in my things, and I fell asleep a little while ago and woke up and Fix Your Movie Little Women was playing. And I have to say, that was a pretty funny podcast. We did a really good job of that.
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
If you have not listened to that and you listen to this podcast and you want to hear David and I do more of a character podcast, I recommend it. I think it lasted like 20 episodes. It was a short-lived but funny.
It was funny, and the last time I saw a movie that really made me want to bring it back was watching Challengers, because it reminded me so much. It was the same guy who made Call Me By Your Name, which I feel like we got a funny episode out of. And Luca Guadagnino, for some reason, our characters on his movies is like specifically funny.
Yeah, it's particularly funny. He attempts to scratch an itch that our characters really have, and he always does it in a half-assed way.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
But yeah, now having watched a couple of his movies, I have to say that Quentin Tarantino gets too much shit for his foot fetish, because Luca Guadagnino has rich yuppie twink fetish in the same way.
Yeah, it's crazy how much he makes the same movie. Even that nasty cannibal movie he made was like mostly a twink fetish movie.
Yeah.
Like it was also really funny. I can't remember what it was called. But it was Timothée Chalamet played a cannibal on the run, but there was nothing supernatural about it. He was just a guy who had the taste.
Yeah.
And he met a girl who also had the taste. And maybe there was a little bit of supernatural, but there was no explanation for why this little tiny twink could kill big loggers in the middle of like they would just kill grocery store people and like people in the middle of nowhere so that they could eat them.
Is it like a vampire story? Or
it's really weird because it came out after Call Me By Your Name and after Armand White or Armie Hammer. Not Armand White.
Armie Hammer was just on Bill Maher.
Was he really?
Yeah, it was his like first interview back.
Really?
To reality, yeah.
Was he on Club Random or was he on? Oh, really? I got to watch that one. He did weed?
Well, I haven't watched it, but apparently I read the comments of the YouTube, and basically everyone said that Bill Maher just talked for 2 hours.
Okay.
So it might be worth a skip.
What a weird way to come back. To ingratiate yourself again is to go on Bill Maher's secondary podcast where he smokes a joint. It's so fucking strange.
Yeah.
Like, well, I got canceled for having cannibalistic urges. Who should I talk to? Barbara Walters is dead, suspiciously.
Yeah.
Maybe I talk to Bill Maher.
Bill Maher's part of the conspiracy.
Dude, actually, because we're a bit far flung right now with talking Bill Maher, did you see, it was a couple weeks ago, but did you see the hot water that Richard Dreyfuss, former guest of Club Random, found himself in?
No, what did he do?
So he recently reappeared on Club Random and got so high he kept falling out of the chair, which is really funny and actually made me kind of sweet on Richard Dreyfuss again.
Yeah.
But then he did a series of appearances over the 4th of July holiday weekend because it was like the 50th anniversary of Jaws.
Yeah.
And Jaws also takes place over the 4th of July weekend. And so he went to the East Coast and did a series of appearances at different movie theaters where he talked about how cancel culture has gone too far, woke culture has gone too far, and they're constantly trying to make him trans. And he, like, people who just went to see him introduce Jaws were just treated to his views on how acting is an art and it shouldn't have anything to do with like forced diversity in DEI.
He's like, you know what? They're not going to put me in a dress. They put Dustin Hoffman in a dress for Tootsie, but I wouldn't do it. I won't put on a dress.
I'm not Grandmama. They're even taking our NBA players, Larry Johnson.
Yeah, and they made him wear a dress. He's like Cat Williams. The reason why I was never that famous is because I wouldn't wear a dress.
Yeah, it was also because 4th of July is a pretty slow news weekend while everybody's prepping to shoot the president.
Yeah.
It just was like the weirdest headline to appear on all the major entertainment outlets. Like Richard Dreyfuss emerges from 12 years of silence to just say that he's being forced to act with trans people. It's so fucking insane.
What was he on that had trans people?
I don't know. He got it in his head that the profession of acting is being compromised and creativity is being compromised because now you have to act with different people. Like, it was the weirdest, most circuitous. It had Star Whackers qualities to it, where it was like some giant edict from Bob Iger at Disney has made it so that white men can't be actors anymore.
Yeah. Well, he just has to be trans and he'll get some roles.
Yeah, that's the problem. He can't be trans. Like, he's too he's too good at acting to compromise that way.
I think he's not getting roles because they require a character who can sit in a chair.
He can't do it anymore. He had butt surgery. He got his he had botched Brazilian butt lift, and it left him without a butt.
He'll try and sit at the chair, and then Clint Eastwood will berate the chair.
Do you remember before you moved into the Forest House, we had the guy, the Renaissance Fair guy, blah, blah,
Shield
blah.
guy.
Shield. He made shields. He had a wild dingo in my basement. He took a thing called ejaculoid, a high-volume semenizer, all of these things. You've probably heard many stories about him. One story that I don't know if I've told in a long time is that he had a guest come over that he had loud sex with and bragged about and threw up right after bragging about it.
Hope this all happened in 1 minute.
It was.
Oh, yeah, just it's like,
we were, Pat McGlue and I were watching Rambo.
Yeah.
I got the DVD of Rambo.
Yeah.
That had a weird special feature. And we were hearing him have loud sex.
Ooh.
And I said to Pat, well, say what you will about this guy, but at least he's not the type of guy who's going to come up and brag about it. And then minutes later, he came up like, I hope I didn't keep you guys up with the sex I was having. And he threw up. But then the next day, this woman is in our kitchen that he had sex with. And she was nice. She was fine.
Yeah.
We just exchanged pleasantries.
she had puke on her back.
And then the guy, this dude was like acting really weird, and he was like clearly self-conscious.
Yeah.
And again, this woman was just sitting there being polite. Like, whatever.
He was self-conscious because he had taken all that ejaculate and he didn't blow her in half.
She could still walk.
So he failed.
She sneezed and cum came out.
Hey, these pills are working.
These pills are working. But then after she left, he like pulled me aside and he was really serious for a second. He was like, listen, you probably noticed she's missing a butt cheek. But she's actually really nice, and she's really hot otherwise. And it was the weirdest conversation.
How did she miss a butt cheek?
I have no idea.
She sit on a landmine?
I think she had bad she sat on a landmine, yeah.
Or maybe, like, she had, like, surgery. Like, she had a scar on her face, so they had to, like, take her butt off.
They took her butt off to give her a forehead again. She was at a Gabby Giffords rally. And she needed her forehead replaced.
So now she just has a butt on the...
She has a butt on her forehead. I have no idea why she was missing a butt cheek. I didn't ask him.
Could you tell?
No,
yeah.
She was sitting down.
Uh-oh.
He was just...
But was she sitting at an angle?
Well, I've literally for 20 years racked my brain trying to remember. Like, was she angled? I don't remember anything funny about it at all. The only thing I do remember thinking before knowing she was missing a butt cheek is I remember she was dressed like Raggedy Ann, but he was kind of a theater kid, so I just assumed like, okay, well, she's playing like Little Miss Buttercup or some play or something.
He's Raggedy Andy.
Yeah,
so.
He's Raggedy Andying her, whatever, That's another OMD style sex act that they sing about.
Man, I love that he had to point out that she had butt cheek surgery.
It was like he was like tense about it to the point where like he could not wait for her to leave just so he could excuse the fact that she had a butt cheek missing.
Yeah.
Which I never would have. Who of all, like outside of the fact that Pat McGlue and I are not particularly judgmental in that way, who would notice? Like,
and now now you'll notice because he brought it up.
Right now I'm staring, trying to figure out what happened to this
where's
cheek.
This butt
Where's
cheek?
the cheek?
She have cheek cancer? What happened?
They made a big flank steak.
Well, you know
that's
what?
why I'm thinking Army Hammer.
This story is not as tragic as you think because, years after this, the Brazilian butt lift surgery was invented. I'm sure by now she's got it.
She's probably fine.
She's probably
She's donking.
She's just got, she asked like, I don't want just to fill in the missing. I want to go extra.
I need to make up for lost time.
Yeah.
It's been 20 years without a butt cheek.
Yeah.
Let me have
one
very large butt cheek. To make up for that. Now she's sitting crooked on the opposite side. And it's correcting her lower spine.
Yeah, her spine had bent the other way, and now she's correcting. She had to get specially made jeans.
I think we run our course.
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
We've run our course. Folks, it's been a pleasure talking to you. David's always like really hot about doing the intro, and I let it happen today. I wasn't going to argue about it.
Outros, I can take or leave. I don't care.
We're in a moment of national healing, and it made sense to let David do this intro without a lot of pushback.
After what happened to our president, I just needed some civility.
Yeah, we needed the civility, and so I offered that to David, and I think you're being very magnanimous in exchange, offering me this moment to really do a full breath outro.
Yeah, you're breathing in and out.
And so I really, really would love it if you guys would... you folks, would take a minute and review this bullshit. Every podcast tells you to do the same thing. I don't need to tell you where to review it.
Yeah.
I don't need to say Apple Podcasts or whatever. You'll do it, okay? You get it. You're savvy listeners. If we know anything about our listeners, it's that they're savvy.
Yeah, you're the savviest.
Podcast-oriented listeners.
You're very podcast-oriented.
And so to do that. To recommend this to your friends.
Yeah.
We'll be back at you in another week with a bonus episode if you go to patreon.com/loose-lips. That.
Yeah, tell your friends about all the features on this pod. The Peen Zone, it'll be back. Just Asking Questions, it'll be back.
I'm sure we'll have a library segment very soon.
Yeah. More on Yum Foods. This big Cheez-It story is an ongoing story.
It's an ongoing story. It's just breaking. Possibly might have another stalker. We're working on getting details.
Yeah. They might be trapped in another car.
This could all happen. So, come with it. And more than anything, I just want to say, fuck you.
Fuck you.
They're man of skin with they've got no hips. They're man of dicks with their opinions. Now let's end the show.